So Paddy the Baddy just got beat. Paddy the Baddy, as a matter of fact, got submitted. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about? So there's something that goes on in England. This is Paddy's gym. Paddy enters this thing every year. It's called something. And then they have a king of the mat. It's a grappling tournament, but they have this thing, this king of the mat. Paddy was in the finals a year ago, and after an hour, they just stopped the match and called it a draw. So he was a co-champion. So whatever this thing is, it's a thing that matters to him. So he enters it, I guess, over the weekend. I guess. And he ends up getting beat.
Gaethje, Paddy, what do you think it looks like?
Oh man, more skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his haircut and the way he talks, and when I fought him, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there, but Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
I don't think that's true, dude. He's actually changed his style so much, and his stats are kind of misleading. Like, if you look at his significant strike numbers, dude, it kind of like Max Holloway. Like, you can't statistically prove that Max Holloway's defense has improved or whatever it is, or that he's more technical, but you can see it when you rewatch his recent fights. Justin Gaethje's the same, dude. Like, his defense used to be fucking abysmal. He would just walk through you, but now he actually has shown improvements in his defense. He was making Dustin Poirier miss a lot in their fight, really frustrated him with his footwork, with his head movement. Had some good moments against Max Holloway, dropped him for the first time. He's sharpened up his technique. He has a really nice jab. Like I said, his defense is a very underrated part of his game. He has good footwork. He feints. He mixes things up between the body and the head. I think that'll work well against Paddy Pimblett, who's super focused on, I need to have my hands up, I need to do this, or his hands are down really low. They're both open, depending on the feints and the setups that you use to capitalize really, really effectively on Paddy Pimblett in the striking. We've seen it.
Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, you know, it is what it is. But another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up too is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looks so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's a much better striker out of the two. We've seen him go 5 rounds. We saw him go 5 rounds against Holloway. I know that he got knocked out in the last second of that fight, and you know, it did kind of suck for that. I actually think I picked Holloway to beat him, though. I can't actually remember. But anyway, it did kind of suck for Gaethje for that to have happened. But, you know, it did kind of create a viral moment that people are still trying to recreate to this day.
Here we go, because Paddy Pimblett, the kid they call Paddy the Baddy, is about to walk into what might just be the most important fight of his life. And who's waiting for him on the other side? That would be Justin Gaethje, a guy who basically exists to bring absolute mayhem every single time he steps foot in that cage. What's got everyone talking about this matchup? These two couldn't fight more differently if they tried, and their careers are moving in totally opposite directions right now. The MMA world is completely split on this one. Everyone's got an opinion and nobody's staying quiet about it. This isn't about popularity contests or Instagram followers anymore. This is Paddy walking into the fire to prove he belongs at this level, and honestly, there's no room for anything less than perfection.
You know, for other guys, but I know Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje is a very competitive fight. It's going to be an exciting fight. And I'm not saying other fights not going to be exciting, you know, but at the end of the day, we know Paddy and Justin Gaethje is going to be a complete firework. There's no way in hell this fight will go 5 rounds. There's no way, you know.
Are you surprised that Justin opened as like a plus 200 underdog? I think it's already starting to flip a little bit.
It's no problem. He was underdog was Tony Ferguson too. What happened? You know, he was underdog was Dustin Poirier second time. What happened? You know, it's okay. You can doubt Justin, but I'm gonna tell you something. If Justin fights in Shell, he's gonna make it sleep. I respect Pimblett. I think he's very underrated. I think a lot of people talk shit about him, but I was like, the guy never lost in the UFC. How are you gonna talk shit about him? But I think if Justin Gaethje touch his chin, he's gonna make him go to sleep. But vice versa too. He have very good grappling. It's a very intriguing match.
The fight world is going absolutely crazy with predictions before this massive collision happens. Let's start with Chael Sonnen, who dropped some serious wisdom about what this all means. His take wasn't just about Paddy dropping that grappling match recently, he went way deeper than that surface level stuff. Chael's point was that this loss actually showed us something really important about who Paddy is mentally when the pressure's on against a destroyer like Justin Gaethje. What really caught Chael's attention was how Paddy, right in the middle of preparing for the biggest fight of his career, still decided to compete in this local grappling tournament at his own gym. Picture that for a second, a hometown event that clearly meant something personal to him. Chael focused on how, despite all the pressure and the real possibility of getting hurt or ozing, Paddy showed up anyway, gave it everything he had, and took whatever happened like a man. He didn't back down from that challenge, he ran straight at it. Chael put it perfectly when he said, "So Paddy the Baddy just got beat, but there was so much more behind those words about what real fighters do."
Paddy the Baddy, as a matter of fact, got submitted. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about? So there's something that goes on in England. This is Paddy's gym. Paddy enters this thing every year. It's called something. And then they have a king of the mat. It's a grappling tournament, but they have this thing, this king of the mat. Paddy was in the finals a year ago, and after an hour, they just stopped the match and called it a draw. So he was a co-champion. So whatever this thing is, it's a thing that matters to him. So he enters it, I guess, over the weekend. I guess. And
taking this whole thing even further, Chael connected this exact mentality to what's about to go down with Justin Gaethje. His take was that real fighters, especially ones with Paddy's never quit attitude, don't spend their time worrying about protecting their image like you see in other sports. These guys willingly walk into brutal, high-pressure situations even when there's absolutely nothing concrete to gain. No belt, no big payday, just their pride on the line. And Chael broke down exactly why this mindset isn't just cool to see, but absolutely essential when you're getting ready to face a complete savage like Justin Gaethje. Justin doesn't just handle pressure, he lives for it. He transforms it into pure energy, and like Chael said with total conviction, there's absolutely no way you can stand across from a relentless pressure machine like Gaethje if you've got even the smallest bit of fear about losing buried somewhere inside you. That fear becomes a weapon he'll use against you.
now, one of the reasons it's so cool is I don't think you have heard about it. One of the reasons I think it's so cool is there's no other sport where this would happen. One of the reasons I think it's so cool is it doesn't matter. And that's one cool thing about our community. Like if a guy like Paddy wants to go out there and take a risk and do something like this, he can chalk that up to a tremendous victory. He can also chalk that up to a workout. And you know what? We need to keep it that way. It's one thing that we have done very well as a group, and there's no others.
Chael also completely destroyed the common belief that losing outside the official cage, especially in grappling, somehow makes you weak. He broke it down with perfect clarity that this type of competition doesn't touch your official MMA record, so it's not hurting you in any traditional way. What it definitely shows, he argued, is genuine hunger, that deep burning need to compete and get better no matter what's at stake. In Sonnen's eyes, Paddy's mature response to that grappling loss, where he basically treated it like just another day at work and a chance to learn instead of getting embarrassed or trying to hide it, revealed something crucial. It proved he's the type of fighter who has the mental strength and pure determination to keep walking forward into danger against someone as scary as Justin Gaethje, instead of choking under the massive pressure or even worse, trying to fight safe. This goes way beyond just being tough physically. It's about the mental battle that starts long before anyone throws a punch.
That LeBron drops in for a one-on-one with the college star. He just couldn't take the risk. He just simply could not take the risk. This happened when I was a kid. It was to John McEnroe in Oregon. This was before the internet was a thing, but John McEnroe came out and he played somebody. We had some high school star down in, it was down in Eastern Oregon. I want to say maybe Pendleton. At any rate, the guy beat him. Our high school star beat McEnroe, and this was a thing. This was a thing. But it's one of these reasons why you can't ever get that. Like, you are left to believe that the NBA is better than the NCAA. You're led to believe the NFL is better than college football. I'm sure you're right, but there's exceptions, and there's certain positions at certain times where there are exceptions. You will never know.
Now let's talk about something that absolutely took over the fight news for a while. Ariel Helwani went straight at Justin Gaethje's injury rumors and didn't hold back. Ariel made it perfectly clear that those mysterious videos and photos floating around online had the entire MMA world talking, mostly because the timing seemed incredibly suspicious, almost like it was planned. Just think about that. Right when the fight promotion should have been running smooth, completely clean of any drama, suddenly this doubt starts creeping in everywhere. And Helwani stressed that this alone, just this hint of uncertainty, has the potential to completely change how fans see this whole matchup with Paddy. He really dug into just how confusing and honestly troubling the whole situation actually was. Ariel carefully focused on how genuinely weird and concerning those images looked, and thoroughly explained why fans weren't losing their minds for questioning whether they were real or what they meant. The real problem, he argued, wasn't just what Justin or his team claimed the injury was, it was how visually terrible it looked, and maybe more importantly, how insanely fast those images blew all over social media. That kind of deep uncertainty, Helwani wrapped up, definitely hangs over a massive fight like this, completely changing the whole vibe and energy as we get closer to what should be an incredible fight week.
Rumors have been swirling that Justin Gaethje is injured. A few videos have surfaced of him diving and cracking heads with someone which wobbled him bad. Do you have any inside information? Have you not heard of this? Okay, actually, I got to be honest. I thought you guys were talking about, I thought he was going to ask about, I saw a bunch of pictures about this thing.
Though, right?
Yeah, the ingrown hair is what he's claiming.
Okay. Right.
Ingrown hair and a bit of brisket, yeah.
Brisket?
Yeah, a little brisket on the chin.
Because they said he had herpes on his mouth. He's like, I was eating brisket and I had an ingrown hair.
If that is an ingrown hair, that's the gnarliest ingrown hair I've ever seen. That makes like a little red dot on your neck if it's an ingrown hair. He had a crater in his neck. I don't know about
By the way, could you imagine, just for a moment, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this?
I do know exactly where you're going.
Enter Armin.
Yes.
Enter Armin.
Yes, it's time. Now, is Armin ready?
Moving on, Artem Lobov jumped in with his thoughts, and he started by admitting something important. He's bet against Paddy Pimblett before, and honestly, he's been wrong about it, getting those predictions completely backwards. But even knowing that track record and learning from it, Artem said he just couldn't shake the same issues he keeps seeing pop up in Paddy's fights. For Lobov, Paddy's performances over and over again show these worrying stretches where his conditioning clearly drops off, creating dangerous windows. And trust me, that becomes a seriously risky game when you're dealing with someone who maintains an absolutely insane non-stop pace like Justin. But the single most obvious, dangerous problem Artem zeroed in on was Paddy's defensive weaknesses. He highlighted a major red flag. Paddy still regularly keeps his chin up high, basically giving opponents repeated opportunities to land crushing clean shots. Now that kind of dangerous high-risk style can work perfectly when you're fighting guys who either hesitate to pull the trigger or just get tired as the fight goes on. But here's the reality, Justin Gaethje absolutely does not slow down, and he definitely does not whiff when he finds his target. Artem made it crystal clear that while it's fun and exciting to appreciate Paddy's wild, unpredictable fighting approach, that's completely different from actually believing it will survive against a proven elite-level striker like Gaethje.
If it even happens. And now we've got Gaethje fighting Pimblett for the vacant title. And I know I've just picked favorites the entire card. And I know that is kind of probably not that exciting for you guys. I am picking Gaethje to beat Paddy Pimblett in this fight. I've been proven wrong by Paddy Pimblett so many times. Over and over and over and over again. If you guys remember, I picked Tony Ferguson to beat Paddy Pimblett in that fight, and I will be honest with you guys, there was a moment there in that third round where it looked like maybe Ferguson was going to get something going because Pimblett did gas out pretty bad in that fight, but that is just cope on my end. And then even then, I picked Michael Chandler to beat him too. Have I ever been more wrong about a fight? Probably not, to be honest with you, but he looked really, really good. The problem with me and Paddy Pimblett, dude, is there's two things that he's just never fixed. His cardio and his striking defense. He still keeps his chin way up in the air. I know that's why people love him. I know people love Paddy Pimblett because of that. The problem is, though, I just don't like seeing that and then trying to justify picking him to beat Justin Gaethje, who just beat Rafael Fiziev a couple of times in the last few years. Now, I know that Artem didn't...
He also went deep into a really crucial part of this matchup, Justin Gaethje's massive evolution and development as a complete fighter over time. Lubov specifically pointed out that Justin isn't the same one-dimensional brawler who was totally committed to standing and trading punches exclusively, a reputation he used to wear like a badge of honor. What's really important here is this: even if Gaethje has zero interest in actually getting into a grappling battle with Paddy, the pure threat of his high-level wrestling background and takedown skills is always hanging over everything, and that threat, that constant possibility of a takedown, becomes an incredibly valuable strategic tool by itself. It's what allows Justin to control exactly where this fight happens, setting all the rules of engagement. Artem strongly believed that keeping this fight standing, maintaining that striking battle, is absolutely essential for Gaethje's victory in this specific fight. And because of his significant growth and improvement as a complete MMA fighter, Justin now has an even bigger toolbox of advanced techniques to make that happen, keeping the fight exactly where he wants it.
Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, it is what it is, but another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up too is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looks so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's...
Shifting, the breakdown from Bedtime MMA added another essential angle, breaking down how Paddy Pimblett, despite his grappling skills, isn't really a traditional elite wrestler who consistently shoots for those picture-perfect takedowns. Instead, Paddy's game plan is way more unconventional, and honestly depends on pure chaos, strategic kicks, and this amazing ability to turn any split second into an unexpected scramble on the ground. And here's what really matters: against a proven technician like Justin Gaethje, that scramble-heavy opportunistic style becomes extremely risky, because Justin's takedown defense isn't just solid, it's famous for being incredibly strong and technically perfect, more than ready to easily shut down any sloppy, poorly timed, or desperate attempts, making sure the fight stays exactly where he wants it, standing up. In his striking world, this means Paddy won't get those easy entries he might discover against weaker opponents, forcing him to stand and bang.
To me, it's really important to just look at these two stylistically. Paddy Pimblett is not a wrestler, bro. Like, Paddy Pimblett is not a wrestler. Justin Gaethje's a better striker. He has good takedown defense, and he has great power. That is my theory here, right? Because when you look at the way that these guys fight, Paddy Pimblett fights a lot behind kicks, dude. He's throwing oblique kicks, calf kicks, head kicks, body kicks, jumping, kind of, switching up in the air, throwing those kicks. He has improved his boxing. That was a big weakness in the Jared Gordon. Continue.
Bedtime MMA went even deeper, explaining why Justin Gaethje presents such a nightmare matchup, emphasizing that Justin absolutely is not the wild brawler he might have been seen as before. He strongly challenged the outdated narrative that Gaethje is just some crazy headhunting brawler, breaking down instead how Justin now uses a complex system of feints, sharp footwork, and controlled defense to systematically make his opponents whiff. And why does this matter so much against Paddy? Because as we've witnessed, Paddy still gets tagged clean way more than an elite fighter should, and throughout a brutal fight, those clean building shots can definitely pile up and cause serious damage. When Bedtime MMA carefully broke down the potential win conditions for both fighters, his preference became totally obvious. Paddy's absolute best shot at winning depends on creating early chaos, landing something big to hurt Justin, and then rapidly turning that moment into a quick, opportunistic finish. But he warned that if that specific scenario doesn't happen fast, this fight will almost definitely stay standing, where Justin has a clear advantage. In that very likely situation, Bedtime MMA thinks Gaethje will systematically, maybe even violently, break Paddy apart, possibly getting a finish in the middle rounds. That's why, despite openly saying he wants Paddy to win, he sadly leans toward Justin getting a TKO victory. Looking at another angle, the breakdown from Dintim highlighted Paddy's definitely sneaky fighting approach and a really strong, well-rounded skill set. He specifically called out Paddy's incredible willingness to fight effectively off his back when taken down, showing his danger from there and his excellent use of his reach with damaging kicks. Dintim thinks Paddy has displayed huge improvement in the loaded lightweight division, showing real intelligence in how he sets up his combinations, making him a very legitimate threat, especially if he can successfully weather and survive Justin's notoriously devastating early assault. But Dintim also broke down, with brutal honesty, that Justin brings an almost unmatched level of violence and raw power to every single fight. While recognizing Paddy's abilities, he argued that Justin's explosive striking might simply be too overwhelming for him to deal with. Dintim feels that while Paddy's previous fights prove he can excel against certain opponents, Justin Gaethje operates on a completely different elite level. He firmly thinks that while Paddy definitely has the skills to win, Justin's enormous experience combined with his relentless pressure will make it incredibly hard for Paddy to take control. Then we got Mike Bones' perspective, whose opinion was that this fight isn't just going to be action-packed, it's basically guaranteed to be an absolute war from bell to bell. He favored Justin Gaethje winning by constantly pushing forward, unleashing waves of strikes and using his legendary fight-ending leg kicks to gradually but surely break Paddy down and seriously limit his mobility. However, Mike also smartly noted that Paddy's naturally risky, unpredictable approach creates an atmosphere of pure chaos that can literally change the entire fight in his favor at any moment, and that chaos becomes especially dangerous, a real game changer if this fight somehow lands on the ground even for a second. Why? Because Paddy's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and his amazing scrambling skills are probably his biggest weapons, and if Justin ends up in that dangerous spot, Paddy has this incredible ability to completely flip the script in the blink of an eye by finding opportunistic positions when Gaethje is caught off guard. Mike Bones finished his breakdown by highlighting the vital importance of Paddy's fight camp. He passionately stressed that Paddy absolutely cannot treat this like any other regular training camp. Justin's relentless, suffocating pressure is completely different, and Paddy has to simulate and actually experience that punishing pace in training long before fight night. If he waits to try and adapt to that level of intensity inside the octagon, Mike warns it could already be game over. But if Paddy prepares exactly right, getting himself ready for that high-energy environment, he can put Justin in tough positions and really make this fight turn decisively his way. Finally, the always vocal manager Ali Abdelaziz called this a real pick'em fight, specifically because both Paddy and Justin are forward-moving, pressure-fighting warriors. He predicts the second that bell sounds, they will literally collide in the center of the cage, and the pace will be absolutely insane from the opening second. Ali clearly stated that he sees zero chance of this fight lasting the full 5 rounds. He also mentioned Justin currently being listed as the betting underdog. Ali calmly reminded everyone that Justin has been counted out many times before and has consistently delivered with massive performances in the biggest fights possible, which is why he remains totally calm about the betting line. He summed up the core battle: if Justin connects clean, Paddy is going down hard, but on the flip side, if this fight somehow hits the mat, Paddy can completely take over with his elite level grappling. So everything suggests this fight will be lightning fast, incredibly intense, and with a very strong chance of ending dramatically before the final bell. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know who you're picking in this incredible battle. Are you going with Justin's unmatched experience and devastating power, or are you backing Paddy's technical skills and undeniably smart strategy to pull off the shocking upset?